All right, today we're diving into GMR Airports, India's biggest private airport operator. And trust me, what they're doing right now is one of the most interesting business transformations happening anywhere. They're not just making airports bigger, they are completely rewriting the rulebook on what an airport even is. Let's break down how they're pulling it off. I know. Airports are usually the place you're just trying to escape from as fast as possible, right? But what if that changed? GMR is making a huge bet that in the future, the airport itself could actually be a destination. And this right here, this is a little sneak peek into that vision. We've got to forget just thinking about planes and gates. We are talking about a massive platform that pulls in everything from duty-free shopping and cargo hubs to restaurants, parking, and all sorts of retail experiences, all centered around their major airports. We'll get into exactly what all this means in just a minute. So here's the absolute key takeaway. GMR is pulling off a massive pivot. They're moving away from just being an infrastructure provider, a company that provides runways, and turning into this dynamic, consumer-first company that makes money from pretty much every single part of your journey. This whole strategy really rests on three main pillars. So let's start with the foundation, what they call the aero engine. This is, the traditional nuts and bolts of running an airport. Aero revenue is basically the bread and butter. Every time an airplane lands, or every time you buy a ticket, a little piece of that fee goes to the airport operator. It's that steady, regulated income that, keeps the lights on and the runways clear. So why is this foundational business so critical right now? Well, the situation in Goa is the perfect example. The old airport, Bhogapuram, was just bursting at the seams. It was stuck inside a naval base, which really limited commercial flights, and it just could not keep up with Goa's tourism boom. The fix? GMR went and built the brand new Mopa airport, which was designed from the ground up for massive growth. And this isn't just a Goa story. You're seeing this play out all across India. And the sheer scale of this expansion, it's absolutely staggering. To put this into perspective, the Delhi airport can now handle 100 million passengers a year. That's more than the entire population of most countries. And it's not just Delhi. Down in Hyderabad, they've almost tripled their capacity to 34 million passengers a year. Now, these aren't just numbers on a slide. They represent massive investments in concrete and steel, laying the groundwork for decades of future growth. And here's how that connects directly to the money. All this new capacity means more planes, more passengers for years to come. But here's the really crucial part. In India's regulated system, spending all this money on expansion allows GMR to charge higher passenger fees or tariffs, and that creates a super stable and predictable stream of revenue. Okay, but a stable foundation is really just the beginning. That steady, regulated income is what lets them build their second and honestly way more transformative pillar, the consumer takeoff. And this is where things get really, really interesting. You don't have to take my word for it. This quote from the analysts over at Elara Capital just nails it. It's not about moving people anymore. It's about creating an entire world for them to spend money in. Non-aero revenue is pretty much what it sounds like. It's all the money that's made from everything you do at the airport that isn't getting on a plane. It's the coffee you buy, the perfume you look at in duty-free, the spot you park your car in, and even the ads you see on the walls. Okay, now look at this chart, because this is what's so fascinating. Sure, the regulated aero revenue is set to take a big jump. But look at the non-aero side. It's already a massive part of the business, and it's projected to become the real engine driving the bulk of GMR's profits in the future. So what's their game plan? Well, first, they're taking full control of their duty-free businesses to capture all of that high-margin revenue. Second, they're redesigning their retail and food courts to get people to spend more. And finally, they're expanding things like cargo, logistics, and aircraft maintenance, all really stable, profitable businesses. So we've got the stable aero foundation and the high-growth consumer engine. But there's a third pillar, the real long-term play that could unlock just an incredible amount of value, building entire cities around their airports. See, GMR owns these enormous plots of land around their airports in Delhi and Hyderabad. And instead of just letting that land sit there, they're turning it into what people call aerotropolises, basically commercial hubs with hotels, offices, and shopping centers all plugged right into the airport. The strategy here is brilliant because it de-risks the whole business. Unlike ticket sales, which can go up and down, this creates a super predictable, recurring rental income. It literally turns what was just empty space into a long-term cash machine. So when you put all three of these pillars together, What you get is a story of a company that is right on the cusp of a major financial turning point. This timeline really tells the story. The last few years have been all about spending big, building those huge new terminals. But the analysts are projecting that by 2026, the company is set to finally turn a profit. And from there, by 2028, as all that revenue starts pouring in, its debt load should start to shrink significantly. And this is the result of all that work, a projected 26% compound annual growth rate in core earnings. A number like that signals that this is a business that's really about to hit its stride, all powered by this new three-pillar strategy. So, to wrap it all up, GMR has built this incredibly stable, regulated foundation with its core aero business. It's using that to fuel rapid growth with a high-margin consumer engine. And for the long haul, it's creating predictable, long-term value by literally building cities around its airports. Which really just leaves us with one final, kind of mind-bending thought. As airports become these huge, all-in-one ecosystems of shopping and entertainment, what does that mean for travel itself? I mean, could the journey become less important than the place you start it from? It's a wild idea, but that's the future GMR is betting on.